Yo, what it do, yo? Team K here, back for another video. And today I'm going to show y'all my top 10 rarest CDs in my collection. You know, since I've gone through my CD collection, all of my CDs that I have, I figured it's time to show y'all my rarest CDs. And I gotta throw a disclaimer out there, you know, these CDs I'm about to show you, they are worth something now, but they might not be in the future, you know, because the rarity of anything can be changed due to different factors, you know, whether there is a reissue or death happening. Anything can happen, you know what I'm saying? And that can either positively or negatively affect the value of a record or a CD or a tape. You know, you just never know. From one day, like I said, a CD can be worth something, and then a month, year, or a couple of years from now, it can be worth considerably less, you know. And I have an example for it. Here we got a Buckwild compilation, 2-disc, with a bunch of remixes and, you know, unreleased songs. And this, at one point when I bought it, was worth quite a bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I got it, you know, adding it to Discogs, and at one point it was like 80 euros or something. The value has changed since, you know, because this one was reissued by Smoke On Records, a German label, great label. They reissue and release a lot of great stuff. And, you know, this one in particular, it was not only reissued on vinyl or tape, but it was also reissued on CD. So, yeah, this is one of those examples of an album that was pretty rare, pretty sought after, and, you know, got dipped in value, you know, because of a reissue happening. And, you know, that can certainly be the case for some of these albums that I'm about to show you, you know what I'm saying? It's a very unpredictable market. You never know when the value of an album can increase or it's going to dip. You never know that shit, you know what I'm saying? Only the future will tell. Speaking of future, it's a good segue. We have here the number 10. We got Future Development by Del, the Funky Homo Sapien. This is his third album. It originally was recorded in 1996, but this album was shortly after that only released on cassette. And then 5 years later, in 2002, it was reissued on tape. And no, not on tape, on vinyl and CD. And I got the CD right here. Now this is not the rarest album that you can find. It's, you know, it's like in the mid somewhere, you know. It's not too expensive. It's semi-affordable, you know what I mean? At least it was for me when I bought it, because when I got this thing, few years ago, I paid $16 for it or something. It was a good price, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember, you know, when at that time, you know, the prices were through the roof, you know, and yeah, I made a good deal on that one. And it's still relatively easy to find depending on what place you look at. But yeah, currently on Discogs, it is selling for about $50, you know. The highest it sold on Discogs was 30 euros. So you can tell already, you know, that and this is not the rarest one, you know what I'm saying? But still, I hear a lot in the community that, you know, they have troubles finding this, you know what I'm saying? This is like, that this album is a huge void in a lot of people's collection, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I put it at number 10, even though, like I said, the value is not like super high on that one. Then we got Mobb Deep with the infamous Archives. This is more like a mixtape type deal, because as you can see, it was released by J Live. He used to do a lot of like mixtapes with unreleased stuff of certain artists at that time. And this is a compilation right here, double disc, and it consists of a lot of like rare and unreleased Mobb Deep stuff, you know. I especially love like the first disc because it consists mostly of stuff that was recorded during the infamous and Hell on Earth era. And the second disc was alright, but yeah, man, this is, you know, also kind of like a mid-tier rare album, you know. It's not necessarily cheap, but it's not super expensive either, you know. It's it's decently affordable, you know. Yeah, and the highest it sold on Discogs, it was 99 euros, but currently it's selling for 42 euros, you know. And the thing is, I think the reason why it sold for 99 euros on Discogs was, I think, because at the time, you know, maybe it was that highly priced because Prodigy just passed away. And of course, you know, when a beloved artist passes away, people are buying this shit up. You know what I'm saying? They buy every record they can get their hands on and whatnot. And I think that was the case for this one. And, you know, I think since a good amount of copies were pressed up, you know, the value went down with this one since, you know. But yeah, it's still much more expensive than what I paid for it when I bought it, you know what I'm saying? Because when I bought this thing, I paid, I would say, like also $15, just like the Future Development joint. So yeah, then we're gonna get into the more rare albums. Okay, this is Double X with their second album, Rough, Rugged, and Raw. This album came out in 1995, and this is one of the most slept on, most underrated albums of the 90s. This is one that I really fucking love, you know what I'm saying? And apparently a lot of other people do too, because this is also quite a rare piece, man. This CD, I remember buying it for like $10 at a German online reseller, you know. And yeah, man, really lucked out on this one because on Discogs, the highest it sold for was 75 euros, and currently the minimum that it sells for is 60 euros. So yeah, very hard to find these days. But once again, you know, this is one of those 90s albums that can be reissued by the likes of 90s tapes, and then this CD might be worth a lot less in the future, you know. You never know. Then we got Sean Price with Gorilla. Now this is a dope release because this was a compilation of his first 3 solo albums, which are Monkey Bars, Jesus Price Superstar, and Mike Tyson. And this compilation right here, I remember when I bought it at HHV for, I think it was $16.99, you know, and that was on pre-order, you know, and I think a few days or a week after the prices got actually raised on that one. So I was lucky that I immediately pre-ordered this one when I saw it. And yeah, since then this album has gone up a little bit in value, you know. And currently the highest it sold for on Discogs was 65 euros. But the minimum that it's selling for right now is, and that's ridiculous, man. I don't know where these prices come from. It's 170 euros. I don't know where that price comes from. I don't know why people want to sell this for 170 when it's when the highest it's sold for is 65 euros. I don't know, but you know, that's what it's currently selling for. But I'm not gonna put this as the number one just because people want to charge 170 euros for this thing when the highest it sold for was 65 euros, you know. Then we got Omnisense with the Raw Factor. Now, here we're gonna go into the casualties of limited releases, you know, because this, like a few other releases right here, this was one of those cases where this one only got a limited amount of copies pressed up, you know what I'm saying? And albums being limited, you know, means that if they're sold out, and there's demand for it, they'll probably go up even more in price, you know what I'm saying? And this was one of those cases. Once again, this was one of those albums that I paid $16 brand new when HHV got it. And yeah, this one was actually released in the mid 90s, but it was reissued by Gentleman's Relief Records in 2014. And when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna cop this. And I bought it specifically for the song Amazing, you know what I'm saying? And I ended up loving the whole thing, man. It was so good. And yeah, and this album, yeah, has since also increased in value, because it sold for 85 euros at its highest, but currently it is sitting at about 55 euros. So yeah, but I remember looking at it a couple of years ago, and it definitely was a little bit higher in price. But I think value wise or whatever, it's not too off from what it used to be, you know. Then we got an album that I really love. This is Epidemic's first album, Illin Spree. And this one came out originally in 2011, 2012. And this album, when it came out, really, really cheap, man. Like at that time, as far as I remember, I only paid $13-14. It was super affordable, man, at that point. But yeah, since then, the album increased in value, which I personally have never thought that it would go up as high as it did, because Epidemic as a duo, they are defunct at this point. You know, they do not release any new music. Even Hex One, who you know, was the one who even released his solo stuff, you know, because Technician never did, but Hex One did release solo stuff, and he stopped recording. You know, I haven't heard anything from him, you know, like solo music wise for a long time. And you know, but I guess there are still collectors out there who want to cop some of their stuff, and you know, and that's why this album is still like selling it right now, you know, these days, because the highest it sold on Discogs was 80 euros, and currently someone is selling it for 90 euros at this Discogs, you know. Was very surprised by this one, you know. This, I'm pretty sure this might be a momentary thing. It might go down in value, I don't know, man, you know what I'm saying? But if there is a demand for it, it might go up. Who knows, you know? The value can change, like I said. Then we got a 90s tapes release, and this is something, once again, another casualty of limited releases. This one was limited to 300 copies. This is Godfather Don's Beats, Bangers, and Biscuits at 535 E 55th Street. Compilation joint, released by 90s Tapes. Yeah, pretty rare stuff. And yeah, and I don't see this one going down in value anytime soon, because 90s Tapes, as of late, they became one of those labels whose releases are pretty sought after, you know what I'm saying? Like the latest release, Science of Life on vinyl, sold out really quick, bro, like within hours, which I've never expected to happen, but it did, you know. And since, you know, their releases become pretty sought after, and you know, big ones in the collecting community, I don't really see this one going down in value. You know, I think it will go up even more, unless there will be a reissue or something, you know. But yeah, right now, this thing, the highest that it sold for was 74 euros on Discogs, and the minimum that it's currently selling for is 93 euros. So you never know, man, you know. But this is, I think, the fourth most rare album in my collection, at least according to Discogs and myself. Then we got an album that was the rarest one for a long time in my collection, and that is Passage Through Time by the Grassroots. This album, nobody knows about it. People barely heard about it, but this shit is freaking phenomenal. Gotta check this one out if you haven't already, because this is incredible stuff, man. Just some dope 2000 underground hip hop. And this thing right here has always been very, very rare, very sought after, you know, ever since I copped it. And this was one of the best price to rarity ratios as far as my purchases is concerned, because when I bought this thing, of course it's in a rough shape, the cover and everything, but when I bought this thing, man, I only paid €4 for it. $4. That was it. Here, the amount that I bought it for, I can hold those those fingers on the screen, you know. Super cheap, bro. €4. And yeah, went on Discogs, added it to the collection, saw the value, and at that point, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, when I bought this thing back in 2016, 17, at that point it was, and I'm not shitting you, it was sitting at about €150, you know. And yeah, and like I said, the highest that it sold for is €139, but currently it's selling for €87. So the value of this thing is fluctuating. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. But I'm pretty sure that some label will pick this up in the future and reissue this, and then this particular release will go down in value, you know what I mean? Then we got one album that I've been looking for forever, bro. Man, if you knew how long I've been looking, man, this is Bumpy Knuckles with Crazy Like a Fox. Bruh, this fucking release is amazing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because this album was something that was supposed to release back in 1994, 1993-ish, but has, like many albums, never seen the light of the day in the 90s until it got reissued on CD, you know what I mean? And the dope thing about this release is it's a 2-disc version, so he recorded 2 versions of the album, and this album has, or this release has both versions on it, you know what I'm saying? You got the original 1994 version, and then you got the DITC version. Freaking A, man. This is by far one of the best CD releases in my entire collection. One of those pieces that I cherish forever, because this is absolutely phenomenal. This is freaking amazing, and I absolutely love it. You know what I mean? And yeah, a lot of people think the same way, because at its highest, this one has sold for €174, and currently it's selling for €92. So yeah, pretty damn expensive for a CD release. I'm happy to have it, you know. Especially, I'm so stoked to have bought this one at the price that I bought it for, because I think it was back in 2018 or 19 where I bought this one at a price of €23, and for that price, steal, bro, absolute steal, because even then the price was very high for this one. And now the rarest one in my collection, Finster Bundy 101 The High. This was crazy, bro. I did not expect this one to be as rare as it is. But right now, this is probably the rarest piece in my collection, you know what I'm saying? It could also very well be, this one could also very well be the rarest piece, you know. The Bumpy Knuckles joint, and this one can probably sit at number 1, but for the time being, this might be my number 1, especially because, once again, it's a 90s tapes release. 90s tapes becomes more sought after. I think the price will go up on this one, you know. And yeah, once again, it was one of those situations where it was limited to 300 copies. And yeah, man, and this thing sold out fairly quickly. You know, I bought this along with the vinyl, and I was very happy to get this. You know what I'm saying? Especially because you know, the value really went up quite a bit in such a short amount of time, like in 4 years. It went from a CD that I bought for, what was it, 13, 14, 15 euros, up to something that's sold at its highest for 146 on Discogs, and is currently selling by some users for at least 102 euros. So that is crazy, bro. You know what I mean? That is crazy. So yeah, that was it, man. Gonna run that back, show y'all all the CDs once again. So we got Future Development at number 10, Mobb Deep's The Infamous Archives at number 9, Rough, Rugged, and Raw by Double X at number 8, Gorilla by Sean P at number 7, The Raw Factor by Omnisense at number 6, Illin Spree by Epidemic number 5, Godfather Don Beats, Bangers, and Biscuits at number 4, The Grassroots Passage Through Time at number 3, Crazy Like a Fox by Bumpy Knuckles at number 2/1, and we got Finsta Bundy 101 The High at number 1/2, you know. So yeah, those were my top 10 rarest CDs. I might do a part 2 to this with the slightly less rare CDs, but I still got some joints that may deserve a mention or whatever. You know, I don't know yet, but yeah, these are the rarest joints according to Discogs and myself. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you got some insights about the shit, and hopefully I, you know, encourage you to look into some of these. Maybe cop them if you can find them for a good price. You know, keep your eyes open for these joints, man. Keep your eyes peeled. Maybe you will find some of these for a good price one day and scoop them up before anyone else does. You know, and if you do, and you got it from me, the tips and everything, you're welcome. You know what I mean? If not, you know, then I'm sorry, yo. But whatever, man. So this was the top 10 CDs in my collection. We'll see you in the next one. I don't know what the next video will be about. Probably my fragrance collection or something. I don't know. Still have to figure that shit out. But until then, keep it cool, guys. Peace out. Let me know what you think. You know, do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? What are your rarest albums in your collection, man? I also would love to know that, you know. So yeah, keep it cool, guys, and take care.